Why would you want to ream me out on air?
Because you set a show for 6 o'clock. It should start at 6 o'clock. Right?
I can't help it if things happen, Steve.
Well, what happened?
Things happen, Steve. There were unforeseen circumstances or stances. Jesus Christ, I
Like
can't even
your
talk.
coffee wasn't ready.
Yeah, the coffee was
That is not a thing.
It so is a thing, Steve. The coffee needs to be prepared. I mean, for me anyway.
Well, I guess I can see coffee as a thing because I bleed coffee, but
Right. So I had to make my coffee and I was waiting for the coffee to be made. So
8 minutes late. Nice.
Steve, I'm sorry that
you
feel that we don't live up to the standards of this show.
You even had I noticed it today because I've never noticed you doing this before, but you even had it like scheduled today. Do you normally do that?
Yeah, Steve, I normally do that every Sunday.
I didn't know that.
Sometimes I forget to do it earlier in the day, but generally I do it every Sunday. I announce that the show will be live at 6 p.m. and I try to say what the topic will be, Steve.
I know that you announce it in the group and stuff, but like on YouTube, you had it set up already. Do you normally do that?
As soon as I open this and send you the link, it's as set up as it's going to be.
Oh, but today I seen it earlier. It's a scheduled event, and it was the Fortean Slip on YouTube. Yeah,
I don't know. I just open the thing and create an event and start the show. That's all we do.
All right.
So, are you ready, Steve?
As I'll ever be.
Okay. This is the Fortean Slip, episode 62, the Return of the Yeti. See what I did there?
Oh, see, when I read the title, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But when you say it,
yeah.
It makes
yeah. Yeah. It's been a fucking big week for Bigfoot news, and since that was the case, I figured we should bring on Bigfoot expert, Washington Post recognized Matt Knapp.
Time Man of the Year.
Are you getting that, Matt?
What kind of dog and pony show are you guys running?
It is a dog and pony show.
Hey, before we go on, I don't know if you guys know, but there was a gentleman who passed away this week. Not Ed Waterman. He passed away last week, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Bigfooters are dropping like flies.
Yeah, Frank Cali, who I actually had a few conversations with. He was part of that whole Rick Dyer thing going on a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So I guess he passed away this week. Somebody sent me a message about that. So may he rest in peace with his briefcase sandwich.
Briefcase sandwich?
Yeah, it's a long story.
Oh, well, you can't let me in on it?
No.
I did a little investigating on Frank Cali when he was with Rick Dyer and doing all that stuff. And he, back in his radio days, he had a briefcase. And all he had in it was a sandwich and a pair of headphones.
Oh.
That was
sounds like something you should carry around with you.
I know, isn't that great?
Sandwich and a pair of fucking headphones.
But he's in the afterlife now, enjoying that sandwich.
So, enjoying the big sandwich in the sky.
Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up because I'm sure some of our listeners remember Frank from those days. And
oh yeah,
that's it.
I didn't know who he was personally, but hey, It is what it is. Big week for Bigfoot, gentlemen.
Yes,
big.
In fact,
huge.
Our former producer, Richard Allen, friend of the show, I did his Squatchable podcast last night, and we were talking about all the different Bigfoot news this week. But anybody who wants to check that out, it was a good show. It's Phil and Richard, and they tell the Bigfoot news.
Sounds like a hit.
It went off very well.
That's what I've heard some feedback from the show, from some of our listeners and others, and they actually enjoyed it. So yeah. I listened to the first about. Well, you came in and I shut the show off.
As you should. that's when I would shut the show off.
Yeah, right.
But the biggest story I think this week, we'll shelf that one for a second.
I think so.
I don't know if either of you have seen the videos. I'm sure Matt has actually. The Tahoe video, and then we are actually doing the news story on the Provo video, so I won't go into that. But both of which, by the way, Phil Poling didn't see any problem with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was kind of surprising.
Wait, Phil Poling didn't debunk a video?
Listen, he was not a fucking fun ruiner this week.
Hold on, I'm going to go watch this, at least the Provo.
He didn't pop any balloons, didn't take any little kids' cotton candy.
Nope. I was shocked because I sent him the Tahoe video, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait for Phil's explanation so I can go and be disappointed yet again. And then I watch his, he had stabilized and zoomed, and I think he talked over that one a little bit. And I was like, wow. He actually, he's not saying it's Bigfoot.
But he's not saying it's not Bigfoot.
Right.
Right.
And that's, I think, the important thing. Like, because we were talking about this last night, and Phil was like, listen, I'm not saying that I can identify it. I'm just telling you what I can see. And I was fucking shocked. I didn't.
Being the Provo one is from the RMSO, which isn't that Kelly Shaw's organization? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
All right.
I do believe. Richard
didn't.
Richard didn't.
One of many organizations that have looked at it, and they happen to be located in the general area.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that Richard didn't want to give them any credit on his show.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're the organization on record who is looking into this, we don't want to not say that either, right? I mean, that's part of the story. We don't want to keep that out. So
I guess
we don't have to believe what they say about it. We have to look at it ourselves. So anyway, that Provo one I just watched.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that when the news comes. But
right.
I don't know.
And you haven't seen the Tahoe one yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, and like Phil had said, it doesn't seem like there's anything going on with the people. Any red flags about what's going on.
It does not seem staged.
Right. Things that we would look for. And, I was like, wow. And I then I'm sitting around, was it yesterday? And Richard sends me the story about the boy from North Carolina.
Casey Hathaway.
Yeah. So I'm like, what? Why are you fucking sending me this? What does this have to do with 40 and shit? And then he just texts me back. He's like, kid said he was hung out with a bear for a couple days. I'm like, what? So I'm driving at the time. So I Facebook called Richard. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, this kid in North Carolina, he was missing. They find him. He says he was, he hung out with a bear for a couple of days. I'm like, that's interesting. We got fucking Mowgli in the woods?
Yeah, apparently so.
So, I mean, I don't know what you guys think about it, but it's pretty crazy. It's something that could happen, I guess, but it's still an interesting story.
I'm going to guess that a bear is going to look at that little kid and say, snack time. But I don't know. I mean, of course, people are drawing the correlation saying maybe it wasn't really a bear, it was a Bigfoot or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And it kind of makes you think, because bears aren't usually nice to humans and don't hang out with them. It's not like.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a very interesting news story. I don't.
Did the kid describe the bear at all?
We don't know.
Yeah,
they're not releasing that information.
There's very little.
But I mean, if you take all the speculation and the bear part out of it, a 3-year-old boy, spent several nights in the woods, lost, alone, in sub-freezing temperatures while it's pouring down rain and walked out healthy and fine.
Matt, may I remind you of science class? It doesn't pour down rain if the temperatures are sub-freezing. It snows.
No, it's still rain, Steve. That depends on air temperature, not ground temperature. Like it rains here whenever it's freezing cold all the time.
So if it's below 32,
I'm talking about the temperatures dip below freezing at night, Steve. It may have been raining during the day.
But you said during the pouring down.
Okay, it rained, Steve.
Christ, Steve. Wow, way to be critical.
I'm trying. Okay? I'm just trying to be
not next to, not in front of, behind.
Factual here. Just trying to be factual here.
Rain. Okay, lots of rain. So you're wet.
And it got cold.
So you're wet. And it dipped down to at least 20 degrees. How does a 3-year-old survive for multiple days in that environment?
And
it is a question.
Yeah, here's what caught me about. He was only found like 40 yards from where he went missing. So that's not very far. So how did I don't know what the terrain is like where he's at.
Heavily wooded.
Yeah, but still 40 yards. I mean, you would think that they would hear him. He would hear them calling his name out and he would respond or something.
Right.
I mean, 40 yards is not even half.
And they also found him tangled up in vines and thorns where he couldn't move.
Yeah. And his coat was all the way up, zipped up, I heard. And, he was still bundled up and he was happy. Yeah. It wasn't like he was like all scared and shit. And the first thing he asked for when he got home was to watch Netflix.
Yeah.
So he went right back to his normal life. So it's a fucking weird story.
It's a weird story.
Yeah. All the way around.
So then he says he hung out with a bear. Like, how'd you survive? I hung out with a bear. Okay. There's no stories on record of a bear coming to the aid of a human.
Could it happen?
He's a 3-year-old boy. I mean, that's a prime target for a bear.
It was snack time,
Yeah, but
bite size.
Even without that, let's say for whatever, the bear would have at the very least avoided him if it wasn't going after him.
You think there might have been a large dog that maybe he thought was a bear, or
I don't know. This story has me bamboozled. I don't know what to think of it. I mean, I'm trying to come up with all these possibilities, because little 3-year-old has an imagination, but like
hallucination.
Could it have been, something where he just made it up in his own mind
to get him through?
But then, okay, think about this. A 3-year-old doesn't take care of themselves at home.
No.
Like if a 3-year-old is thirsty, they tell you they're thirsty and they have water or whatever the drink is provided for them. Like, would he have thought to drink from a creek or a puddle or something while he's out there? How did he keep from dehydrating? How did he keep from freezing to death? How did he keep from slipping in hypothermia? Like, he had to have had help. There's no way. I mean, food, yeah, he could go without food, but not water. And I just don't see, maybe on some primitive level, survival instincts would have kicked in and he would have, just drank some water if he found it. But that still seems, I don't know.
I can imagine the kid drinking water, but the rest of the story doesn't add up because he's 3 years old. It's just, yeah. A lot of people are thinking that maybe he was abducted and then released and put back there.
And then returned.
Yeah. But I don't even buy that.
But have they said anything about whether he was malnourished or anything from being
in good health?
Nothing.
Yeah. He was normal. Nothing was wrong with the kid. Released him right back to his parents. He went home and asked to watch Netflix. He was fine.
I mean, how did he disappear from the yard? Why did he wander out of the yard to begin with? I mean, you have stories, and stories of Bigfoot being drawn to children for some reason. And you have stories of Bigfoot grabbing them out of yards and running into the woods with them, or trying to lure them into the woods. And I mean, I don't know, man.
Do you know of any reports from that particular area of North Carolina, Matt?
No, but it's North Carolina. I mean,
It
pretty much
depends on what part
everywhere
of
you
North
have,
Carolina,
yeah, pretty much anywhere you have like dense forest, you have reports.
Quite a bit of mountainous area there, and depending on the part of North Carolina, I'm not sure where. But I mean, I just was there. It's a beautiful state. I love it.
And like, was he with a Bigfoot, and maybe the Bigfoot brought him back as close as the Bigfoot was willing to get, and got him tangled up in the vines and stuff where he couldn't move, so they would find him?
I'm going to guess he wasn't tangled up in those vines for the whole time. He couldn't.
No.
He would have perished.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would have been a problem.
Guess. Yeah. He would have froze to death at night. I mean, I know still getting below zero there at night.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand the story. Like that's the biggest. I just don't understand it.
So, I don't buy the abduction part because he was found 40 yards from where he went missing, from his grandmother's home, I believe. No criminal in their right mind is going to return to that scene while they're out there in the fucking woods.
Right.
So I can't buy that part of it. And I can't buy the bear part. Bears just don't treat humans that way.
No.
Not strange humans,
And like, if he had seen a bear, like that's not on TV. That's not in the zoo. Like,
yeah.
Even a kid's gonna like figure out real fast that like, hey, that's a predator. You know, like he would be afraid of a bear, I would think.
Yeah. The story just, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. The whole parts of it it's like, why is this kid still alive?
Yeah. And we'll probably never know.
I mean, stranger things have happened, I'm sure. I mean, people, when you're in a situation like that, even as a 3-year-old, do you think that your instincts might kick in that case and keep you alive longer? But 3 days,
a 3-year-old, I don't know, man.
That's not a whole lot of time to build up some instincts, or hear things on TV, or read things in books. Like, your database to pull from isn't very deep at 3.
Okay, so Richard just sent me something. It said, kid's name is Hathaway. He was able to tell them his name and age when they found him. We're also told by a relative of Hathaway that a man had him, but authorities have not confirmed that information as of right now. But that wasn't from Casey himself. That was from a relative, probably a speculation is my guess.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what I would think, is somebody probably had him. But I mean, again, like, although I kind of contest what you said, Matt, about whether or not they'd bring him back there, because usually they get abducted by family members.
I said that.
Or whatever, whoever said it.
Yeah.
And I tend to think that maybe, if they felt guilty or whatever, that they may have. So I don't know, but the story definitely is.
That woods had been swarming with people, looking for this little boy.
That was the thing. I was confused because it said that they found him due to a tip, and at first I was like, "Well, what kind of tip is that?" Like, did somebody see him?
There might be a boy in these woods, and he might be tangled in these vines and briars.
I read an article today that was about the woman that actually found him, and she was, I guess, part of the search. I don't know. She had dogs with her. She heard, it's still kind of weird if you ask me, but she heard what she thought sounded like a little kid yelling, and she went and put her dogs up and came back, and she could still hear what sounded like a little kid yelling for their mom. So she ran and got a deputy that was right down the road. So they were in that area. I mean, law enforcement was in that area where she didn't even bother going into the woods and looking for herself. She just ran down the road and got the deputy.
But it's 40 yards from what I read. Now I could be wrong, but 40 yards from his grandma's house. So it wasn't like, obviously they're going to be concentrated in an area and then they're going to fan out.
Yeah.
So how did they not find him like right away? That's what, and then took 3 days. What was it? 3 days he was out there?
Yeah.
3 days to find him 40 yards away from the home. And I don't know. That just doesn't.
Well,
and
again,
I'm telling you,
was he there the whole time?
But even if it was a family member, unless they dropped him off on the road and he wandered into the woods after, the day that they found him. But even a family member isn't going to get that close to the scene. I don't think. Even if somebody had abducted him and they were like his mom or his estranged dad, whatever, that kind of thing. I just don't see them dropping him off 40 yards from the house. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, like I said, if there was a guilt factor in there,
I get the guilt factor, but you're gonna drop him off in town somewhere.
Yeah, there's a guilt factor where if you're willing to do that, then why wouldn't you just like call up mom and dad and be like, hey, here's your kid back, and try to convince them not to press charges.
Well, I think that is the deciding factor, the charges.
Yeah.
Because most people want to avoid those. But I like I said, the whole story, it's weird, it's interesting, it's, it very well could be something outside the norm, but we're not going to know.
But we're pretty much, the three of us pretty much agree, I think, that there's no way he did it on his own. I mean, he didn't stay out there for 3 days on his own. So either he had help from an abductor, or he had help from a bear, which is unlikely.
An abductor dressed as a bear.
There
furry?
You go.
A furry. He was abducted by a furry.
We have broken into a new fucking theory.
That could be true, though. I mean, something like that could have happened, I suppose.
I mean, maybe that's how he was lured. Like, hello, little guy, I'm a bear.
Kid just watched some fucking Mowgli.
Yeah.
He's all down.
Or there's some strange creature out in that woods that keeps children safe, I guess. I don't know.
But if there is a kidnapper out there dressed in a bear costume, hanging out in the woods, that's creepy.
Yeah.
That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bunny Man urban legend is generally just an urban legend.
Yeah. Typically.
There are some stories, but
the kid's 3 years old, so he's not going to be able to give us a complete 100% answer, and I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of it, but it is very intriguing.
Well, it depends. The police might find something.
Like a costume?
Yeah, like a bear costume.
Oh, here it is.
The bear costume?
Yeah.
I saw where somebody posted on Facebook that like in 15 years he's going to be on a Bigfoot podcast explaining what happened.
15 years. I'm sure Kelly Shaw's already tried to get a hold of this kid.
Well, okay. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Here's the jacked up part. Bigfooters, the first day, were trying to contact that family.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I find that really sick.
That's disturbing.
It's one thing to sit here and speculate like, oh, he hung out with a bear. Like, there's stories of Bigfoot and, like, okay, I get that. I'm privy to it. I'm part of it. But to contact the family who's just gone through something like that and try to like, do you think it was a Bigfoot? Did you show him pictures of a Bigfoot? Like, come on, people.
But you're going to taint the story anyway if you do it that way. If you're going to put, it's the power of suggestion at that point, and the kids, it was a Bigfoot, and so now let the kid be for a while.
Either way, a kid went missing for multiple days. Leave his family the hell alone.
Yeah, let him enjoy the fact that their son's home safe.
Yeah, usually it doesn't end this way.
Yeah, any other time if you had heard of a boy missing for this long, age 3, he's probably not coming back.
Right.
Right.
Statistically speaking, you're never going to see him again.
what is it, after the first 48 hours or so, that statistics, even as adults, that they're missing in a situation like that, you're not going to see them again.
Yeah, they're either going to find nothing or they're going to wind up finding a body usually.
So, I mean, awesome that the kid was found and he was safe
Yes.
and he was healthy. There was nothing wrong with him. And, you know, he got to hang out with a bear for a few days. I think that's pretty awesome. And he's going to have a story to tell his grandkids someday.
I hung out with a bear.
Or maybe he has superpowers.
That
And,
could be too.
you know, can commune with the bears.
He's Dr. Doolittle.
The bear
man.
whisperer.
Oh, dude, we don't need another one of them.
So,
Fucking a guy going into the grizzly maze.
as a public service announcement, leave the fucking kid alone, Bigfooter people.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
Shame on you.
Well, if it was an adult, yeah, go ahead and try to contact them. Let them have it. But even in that case, you let them have a few days, right? You don't just, somebody's been through 3 days of probably hell. Leave them alone.
Yeah, let's badger him for some information.
Even the cops ain't going to, try to get too much information out of the kid. They're just going to let him go, let him integrate back into his family and then probably interview him, that kind of thing. That's probably why we don't have a lot of information on the story right now.
Well, yeah, and they probably have their own theories and shit going on anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, definitely leave the fucking family alone. I mean, let them enjoy the fact that their son's home safe. We don't know what happened. It's an interesting story, and I'll keep saying it. It definitely caught my attention. Like I said, I was driving home and missing boy back home. What the fuck is this?
Hung out with bear.
And then what? What? Huh? So, I mean, and it's just this crazy week. Like I was saying to Richard, I'm like, there's 2 videos that Phil put out where he basically said everything looks good. I mean, it looks like a bipedal something. And then this, I'm like, are we in an episode of the fucking Twilight Zone here? Like, what is going on? There's a Bigfoot on the wing. I'm fucking waiting for something.
Wasn't that William Shatner in that one with the one
the original, and then John Lithgow in the movie?
Oh, but the William Shatner version, I'm sure, much better.
Who doesn't love Shatner? Come on now, the man's amazing. I mean, come on. He's what, in his late 80s at this point? 9? How fucking old is he? Fucking 1,000. He's made a business out of parodying himself.
I know, right?
And he's perfect for it.
Right.
I admire the man. He's fucking. Every time I see him, it's like, you go, Bill. Fucking plug that next book, that album where you don't sing. I just fucking plug it, bud.
Did you see back in the day, even Leonard Nimoy put out an album?
Nimoy?
Yeah. Spock put out his own album.
I think he put out several, didn't he?
I think so.
He sung the Bilbo Baggins song.
Yeah.
What
had a music video for it.
Yeah. That was the shit, man. Now we got Hobbits for real.
I guess back in the 70s, a lot of celebrities did that. I suppose some still do. Even Shaq put out an album, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
But like in that particular time frame, there were several records released that was the whole thing. It was like actors and celebrities on the albums.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Hollywood Gold or something like that.
Yeah, it was a huge thing back then because people get excited.
K-Tel. Remember the K-Tel commercial?
Oh, God. I remember all that bullshit. Hey, man, what's that? Is that Freedom Rock, man?
But nothing will ever beat the live performance of Shatner doing Rocket Man.
Oh, God. That is fucking a gem. An absolute gem. Isn't he smoking?
Yes.
On TV, even.
And he's going to be high
as a kite by then.
I mean, if you haven't seen that footage, you have to look it up.
Oh, yeah. Fuck it. William Shatner.
Shit.
And you're absolutely right. That Rocket Man performance, it's fucking beautiful. If you're a Shatner fan, enjoy.
I watched it for like 3 hours straight the first time I saw it.
Just on repeat,
put it on a
over
loop.
and over.
Yeah. Take this in.
Oh shit.
And it was at like a science fiction convention or the sci-fi awards. That's what it was.
Oh, Rocket Man. I mean,
Nerd Awards.
Makes sense.
William Shatner, doing Rocket Man.
Steve, did you get a chance to see the Tahoe video yet?
No,
you haven't popped it up yet.
Doing a show, I'm not supposed to do.
Well, we're talking about it. You haven't seen it. I figured you'd pop it up so we could talk about it. You know,
Tahoe,
I mean, Matt and I kind of discussed it a little bit. Without you.
Oh, with an E.
Yes, with an E, Steve.
Typically.
So, it's potato. You know, people don't know how to spell
potato?
that.
Tomato?
Yeah. That was 4 years ago. 1 week ago.
You know what I learned last night, Steve, on Richard's new show?
What did you learn?
That Ohio has a lot of Bigfoot sightings.
Thank you, Richard.
I mean, you know, I just thought I'd let you know that.
Richard is no longer producing our show, but he's still producing our show.
He's sending you fucking links because you suck. Because you can't manage to Google.
I was in the middle of Googling. All right. I'll be watching it. You guys carry on, and I'll let you know my thoughts. Oh,
is that why
I'm watching the breakdown from Phil.
Is that why like 70% of the Bigfoot research world comes from Ohio?
I don't know. I mean, we got a lot of Bigfooters here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. They have their own conference.
They have multiple conferences.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's several.
Including the largest Bigfoot conference in the United States.
It is kind of crazy. And
it's larger than the big conference in Washington, which really doesn't make any sense.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah. It would be like if the largest casino convention was in Atlantic City instead of Las Vegas.
No, in Maine. that would be the more, you know,
the Cherokee Casino here in Tulsa.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we've got like 2 casinos here in the state now.
Congratulations.
Yeah, the Indians put it through, Matt. They made it happen. And they got fucked by the United States government in the process.
Well, you know, shit happens.
Yeah, shit does happen. But yeah, I had sent that video, the Tahoe video, to Phil, and I was like, hey, I just came across this, figured I'd throw it your way and see what, you know, see if you want to do a breakdown on it. And he did, like, right away. And I watched it a couple of different times, and I watched the guy where I'd gotten the video from, and then Phil. They both kind of did the same type of thing. And it's definitely, you know, something walking on 2 legs.
It is that.
You know, but you know, like Phil says, he can't say because of the quality of what you can see what it is.
Well, that's what makes a lot of those videos difficult. I mean, I don't know. Personally, over the years, I've seen so many Bigfoot videos. To me, it's obvious when it's a costume.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's those few out there where it's not necessarily that it's really a Bigfoot, but it's just, you know, like you're saying, the quality is so poor that like you can't tell what it is.
Right.
But you can tell like the general shape and the form and everything.
And then you've got the people who are saying, you know, God, that's, you know, it's really big. It's, you know, I mean, you have to go off what's there.
Right.
And that's all we have. And like I was saying for those guys last night, I said, you know, somebody needs to go out there and do, you know, a comparison video.
Yeah.
So that we know.
I was able to watch it.
Okay.
Obviously not great footage.
No.
It's too far away to really make any sort of determination. I have to agree with Phil. Nobody seems to be acting in that thing, you know, either the Provo or that video. I think the Provo is a little bit more impressive because it's a much clearer picture. I haven't watched Phil's breakdown on that one, but I have seen the actual footage. The one in Tahoe, It's really hard to determine what that is.
Yeah.
But what I can say is it's not an obvious, okay, let's get a real nice picture of this guy in this costume. It's
Right.
way behind some trees, and you can't, unless you were really looking, you wouldn't have been able to see it in the first place.
And I think Phil said that you can tell that it like grabs something.
Looks like it's stacking something or picking things up.
Yeah. So and like I said, that you get the people saying something that would contradict that it was a person.
Right.
However, they could be mistaken too.
Right. And we don't, obviously the camera is not going to give us the same perspective as they had.
Mm-hmm.
So what they were seeing and what we're seeing on film is a whole different situation. But
Correct.
They don't know what it is, and they believe it's something that isn't
or shouldn't be there.
Lying. Right. Shouldn't. It doesn't fit what they would think would be a normal occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think the people are lying. You can usually tell. It's really usually glaringly obvious when people are acting.
Mm-hmm.
And these people didn't seem like actors.
Yeah. When I saw the video, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like as with anything, and if I see something like that, I'll shoot it to Phil. And he usually will look at it and do a breakdown. The one that got to me this week or last week, I can't remember when I sent it to him, was the UFO video near Area 51. Did either of you guys see that one?
I did not.
No.
Richard.
Yeah. So I guess the video is not from recently. It's from like 2016, but it was being posted as if it was recently that it was filmed. And there's a few different breakdowns that are out there. I posted a couple of commentaries on my blog. I sent it to Phil, and Phil was like, hey, I figured it out. It took me a little bit, but I figured it out. And it from the looks of it, the way Phil broke it down, it looks like it's CGI. But to see the video at first, it's like, what the fuck?
Thank you, Richard.
Jesus. You're the worst, Steve. Just
producer Lee got to do something.
You're just the fucking worst. So, but I wound up getting shit on the Fortean Slip like page because some guy watched Phil's breakdown and he watched somebody else's. I guess the one that Phil notes in his. And he's like, well, you should post this other one too. So I did, and I wound up watching it, and it more or less says that it's a real thing. And I'm like, huh? But I mean, I'll post anything. I post all kinds of different opposing views. I don't give a shit. But I was just like, yeah. And then like you got these other videos of people saying, well, it's not a bug. We can prove it's not a bug. Yeah. We're pretty sure it's not a fucking bug, you assholes. But watching Phil's breakdown, I was just like, yeah, it's definitely CGI.
It's usually pretty easy to tell CGI if you just. I mean, some CGI is pretty impressive, but most of the
way Phil found it is that there's breaks in the frames of the object, and he showed that because initially.
I did see that video.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay. The one where it comes zooming towards the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all on the same page now, gentlemen.
Beautiful.
Except for Steve.
Well, I'm not quite yet because I'm watching it still.
So at the beginning of Phil's video, or somewhere near the beginning, before the drone goes up and is over where it films the supposed UFO, it pans back and forth a couple of times quickly. And so Phil was showing the motion blur. And if this thing was going as fast as it was, you barely seen anything, And when you slow down the frame, go to the individual frames, you can actually see the thing.
Yeah.
And there's no way you'd be able to. Based on, he was saying based on the camera, what they were using, et cetera, et cetera. So I just thought it was interesting. All these people, Clyde Lewis from that fucking crazy ass podcast he's got, was did a commentary on it, and I posted that on my blog. But you just got all these people coming out like, it's crazy. It's a UFO near Area 51. Jesus. Oh, my God.
People want to see what they want to see. I mean, I don't care if you have 100% proof that this is CGI or or a real UFO. It doesn't matter. The people who don't want it to be are going to say it's not, and the people who do want it to be are going to say it is. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
It's not It's certainly not very. I mean, it's impressive, but it's not that impressive.
Not interested, Chris.
No.
You're digging up the wrong tree, Chris.
But
that is very true.
Oh, you brought it up, not me, Steve. Fuck you.
Sorry, I won't do it again. Yes, I will.
So I brought up to Phil last night also. I hate to keep bringing up, the show last night. I do want to, say it was great being on there with Richard and Phil. As much as I give him shit. I brought up to Phil the whole Russian Yeti pulling up trees video. Because he had told me he was going to do an update.
I mean the logging machine video?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and he's like, no, I took a look at the video again, and I see the glint of steel from sunlight or metal or something. And he's like, and I stated that, it could have been a harvester. And I'm like, kind of tongue in cheek.
I mean, I took a look at that video for about 30 seconds, and my first impression was it's a harvester. I didn't look into it as much as Phil did, so I have to say that. I've already seen that one, Richard.
Jeez, will you fucking God Almighty?
I'm done.
Wow.
Blocking Richard on Facebook. Not really.
Wow. Holy shit.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. It just keeps coming back.
But no, it didn't. I don't know. If I were doing breakdown videos, I probably wouldn't even done a breakdown on that particular one. But that's me.
Yeah.
Well, it went viral really fast.
Yeah. Normally, Phil is 100% spot on, but in that particular video, the first time, I haven't seen his update. But the first time
he hasn't done it, and he's not going to.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which I found hilarious. Because he points to it that it's more the movement of the ground.
Huh?
Yeah, it was definitely a harvester.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why
I've watched videos.
I kind of wanted you to watch the video, but so you could see his colossal fuck up.
I've watched a lot of videos of harvesters, and the way that tree moves is exactly what a harvester does.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right,
maybe
but whenever I first saw it, it was still growing. It hadn't gone crazy yet.
Yeah.
And I only played I didn't really pay attention to the video. And at first I was like, okay, well, I can't really tell by the silhouettes of the trees if they're even there. It's probably just some CG. And then I went to the actual source of the video and realized that the person that posted it, clearly it wasn't something they constructed. I mean, it was just, they didn't know what it was. And then, so I actually paid attention to the video and blew it up on screen and everything. And you could clearly see on the second tree where there's actually some ambient light of some kind, you can actually see the front of the harvester grab the tree and move it.
Yeah.
Right.
So at that point, it's like, okay, it's a harvester that does that exact thing.
It almost, if you look at it quickly, it almost looks like a guy grabbing the tree.
Right. And that's what a lot of people are like, oh, it's a Bigfoot. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It's a freaking 18-foot tall Bigfoot.
To clear that up for everybody, it's not.
No.
It's a harvester.
But Phil is not going to do an update because he said that he stated in the video that there's the possibility of a harvester. But the way he does it, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, and that's why I gave him shit for it. But no update. Just carrying on with Para Breakdown.
No update from Para Breakdown.
That's right. It's just more breakdowns.
But I have to say, 99.9% of the time, Phil is spot on, and he does good breakdowns. I mean, that's why we
Well,
a load of shit.
I more or less bring it up just because of the fact, and we think the world of Phil. Yes, you're right. 99% of the time, he's spot on. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yep.
We all miss shit.
I don't.
Actually, I think there was another time, Matt. I think you were the one that pointed out to him.
I would never do that.
It was that the one with the tannerite?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bigfoot explosion.
Yes. Yeah.
The white Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Or, as I like to call it, the dead leaf on grass.
Exactly. I mean, so it just goes to show you everybody fucks up. We're all human. And it's not always going to be perfect. We tend to trust Phil because what he puts out, generally, 99% of the time.
I very much value his opinion.
Yes.
Yep.
As I do yours and Steve's.
Hmm?
Not so much Richard.
Yeah. Richard kind of fell off for you. It was because he said he wasn't your friend.
No, we're not in the same loops.
Yeah, you're not in the same circles. So it happens though, man. You don't. He's in the Bigfoot circles,
and I'm not.
You're not. You don't have anything to do with that.
No, I don't have any articles published by the Washington Post or anything.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing at all.
Boston.com.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, when was that?
No, it's nothing really.
Oh god.
Yeah, nah.
Now I really want to hear about it.
No, it was just where I was saying something about using some free software from MIT to determine hoaxed videos, but nobody wants to use it or do it, so that's fine.
No, of course not. Of course not, man.
It's
That's much like when I was with David Batdorf and he was trying to explain to people how to do scientific research, and it looked like they literally weren't even paying attention to him.
Well, that's because they weren't.
Well, they're not.
You're right.
Because we don't want scientific research. We want fantastical stories.
I wrote an article for my blog that is now defunct about using environmental DNA techniques instead of like pouring plaster into a track and putting it on your mantle. Like maybe we should use the substrate to extract DNA. And everybody ignored that. And now Cliff Brackman is doing it, so it's a big deal. But I did it 4 years sooner than Cliff, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's not a competition. I hope that the mystery is solved, and I don't care who does it. So
people listen to Cliff because he's been on TV. You've only been in, published.
The Washington Post.
And he's an educated guy. Cliff's a smart guy.
Oh yeah, he's not a dumb guy at all. Good dude.
I will say I've met Cliff. He's a nice guy. He seems really genuine when you talk to him.
Yep.
But yeah, that shit happens.
Yeah.
And it is very well that he could have taken it from you. But it's also very well that he could have just come to it of his own.
Yeah.
I don't think Cliff would have took it and not given credit, but somebody could have brought it to him, without crediting the original source.
Yeah, well.
Or Cliff might have just took it. I don't know.
I think it was just one of those things where, the same idea. When you're trying to figure out a problem, people come up with the same ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
In the end, a plaster cast is not going to do anything but give you a plaster cast.
Right.
You can't really extract. I suppose you could later extract if there's some, stuff in there, but then wouldn't it be contaminated at that point anyway?
Yeah, and the process of the hardening of the plaster, the chemical reaction could, damage or break down the DNA. But according to David Pauly, it's all going to be solved soon anyway. So.
Oh yeah, of course. And
he's going to all figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Leaps and bounds in Bigfoot DNA research is.
Don't worry about it.
Wait, his last DNA project, how'd that work out? They proved it then. Why would he need to prove it again?
Well, it's continued.
Oh.
Now it's for sure a type of human that's not human and not a primate.
So we're still on the angel DNA shit.
I don't know what we're on, Steve. Like, I was talking to Chris about it, and I showed him
whoa. A type of human that's not a human and not primate.
Yes. Yeah. As soon as
Humans are primate.
it's obviously above my knowledge level.
Maybe I'm missing something here.
Hey,
and maybe my science teacher lied to me, but humans are primates.
Well,
all types of humans are primates. All primates.
I thought that was a requirement to be called human, but apparently not.
Maybe he should just go back to stealing autographs.
I've thought that, people who say, wonder if there's a great ape walking around in North America. I say, yeah, there is. They're called human beings.
Yeah, right.
We're a fucking ape.
And people like, Bigfoot ain't no ape. It's a type of primate.
Yeah. You go with that.
Or the people that say, how do you know it's a primate? I mean, I guess I don't, but it has all of the primate characteristics.
Apparently, when you're doing, Bigfoot research, you're not playing to the educated among us.
No,
you're preying on folks who just want to believe in shit.
Say it ain't so, Steve.
I'm just saying, because anybody who's ever had elementary school science class knows that humans are primates, and apes are primates, and chimpanzees, and bonobos, and all that shit. They're all primates, right?
And people.
I don't know what you speak of, Steve. I don't understand.
I just don't get why people throw money at these people. And that's all. It's got to be what it's about. It has to be.
It's fucking blind faith.
There's no faith involved. It's scientific fact that humans are primate.
No, I mean I'm talking about with all this bullshit. Why do they throw money at it? Because it's blind faith. That's all it is. Stupid.
Makes no sense.
You're absolutely right. It makes zero sense.
Even if I thought they were 100% correct, I still ain't giving them shit for money. They got more money than I do probably already. So why the fuck do they need my money anyway?
Mm-hmm.
But it just there's a lot of better things that I can throw my money at than Bigfoot research.
Yeah.
Or any Fortean topic research.
Yeah.
But people,
I've spent a lot of money
on your own stuff.
Well, no, I'm just saying, whenever I was actively a field researcher or whatever you want to call it, that's costly.
Oh yeah.
It costs money to do that. The supplies cost money. The travel costs money. And you're logging all these hours that you're not going to get back. And usually nothing happens. And then whenever something does happen, it's usually interesting at best. And then you have, those miracle moments, but most people never have them. But outside of that, it's just, very costly to pursue.
Right. But you're using your money for your benefit.
Right.
Or obviously, in the long run, the benefit of others, if you find something that's intriguing and you can share it with people. I'm talking about people who just throw money at a project, like the first
Falcon
DNA
project
or something like that. Right.
The dead Falcon project.
Right.
Did those people get their money back?
Look at Wally. How much money has he thrown into this, and what's he gotten back out of it?
Well, it's the same thing with the Olympic project. I had spoken to someone, I won't name any names, from the Olympic project, and I'm like, listen, we'd like to see solid scientific research. Oh, we're doing that, and you're going to see the results. That was over 2 years ago that I heard that. Have we heard anything from the Olympic project?
No,
not a fucking thing. So, and that's
or
all
any
you
other
hear.
project for that.
That's all you hear from these people. Oh, we are doing it.
How many times have we heard This year, we got these big things to release this year. And then it turns out to be shit. Every year.
Here's where I'm going to have to get a little defensive.
Go ahead.
There's lots of people that aren't those big groups, that aren't in the Pacific Northwest, who do go out all the freaking time and spend all the money out of their own pocket, who are getting results and are getting evidence, and it just goes ignored because they're not the big names.
And that could be 100% true. I don't deny that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know personally a group that has audio recorded of, and it was recorded in this portion of the United States. We'll call it the South, Mid-South region, we'll say. And on this audio, they have coyote vocalizations, what they believe is a Bigfoot vocalization, and a human doing, a Bigfoot call, all on the same audio with spectral analysis showing the actual differences between the three. So it's not misidentified coyote. It's not a human. It's something else. And just like nobody cares. Like, okay.
It falls on.
Can we hear the Ohio howl again?
Well, it kind of goes back to people just want the fantastical. They don't want the actual research. They don't care.
They want to see the video. They want to see the photo because they want to believe, no matter what, that these things are real, but they don't want to go out there. They want it shown to them. They want the zoo effect, even though they're all great animal lovers and we just want them to be left alone, but they'll get bloodthirsty over a picture or a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it happens all the time. Those videos go crazy.
I've seen,
and you wind up with people putting a lot of stock into a video that's bullshit.
Yeah, a tremendous amount. Or you'll, like Steve was talking earlier, you'll point out, the facts that something is bullshit, and they'll still argue and like, you're wrong. You're just a hater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've seen photos over the years that to me were amazing. And they've never seen the light of day publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is by, big name people where it's just like, it doesn't prove it. So they don't put it out there and they don't want the arguing and they don't want the drama involved, or they can't, release the source, and everybody's going to demand, the source for it. So it just never comes out because of the way that people behave.
Right.
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not just, in the Bigfoot world either.
No, it's everywhere. You can't, it's the religion and politic effect. If people have their certain beliefs, they're going to believe it no matter what the argument is. And so you could be 100% right on your side, but the other side is always going to be, arguing the opposite because it's a belief system. That's it.
Yeah, and belief makes people go crazy.
Makes people stupid.
That too.
Yeah.
But it causes these, this infighting, these attacks. It's just, it's fucking crazy.
I've literally lost friendships over the shit.
Yeah.
Actual friendships, like.
Oh yes, and we have too.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's too bad. It's too fucking bad. The people just can't fucking, work together. It's this one big, me.
Yeah.
And that's, I hate to say it, but
what
it's probably.
What do they call it? The crab bucket?
The crab bucket?
The bucket of crabs. Come on. You're from freaking New England, man. You should know this one. Where like the crabs all pull each other down in the bucket trying to get to the top and nobody ever gets out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like a frog.
I'm not into fucking seafood.
Like a frog in boiling water.
Where you put a frog in cold water, you put it on a stove, and you bring that water up to a boil, the frog won't jump out because he got comfortable with it over time.
Have you done this, Steve?
No, but I've heard of
Probably.
it.
No, he's done it.
What's with
My
you and
mom used
frogs,
to.
man?
My mom used to use that analogy. It's because people will believe that they'll get comfortable, or they'll be in a situation where they believe a situation is one way, but it's not really truly that way. That is the situation we're in with the Bigfoot community and a lot of other communities. Doesn't even have to be a Fortean thing. There's a lot of communities. Every community I've ever been in online is that way.
Yeah, that is true.
Every single one.
Yeah, and like we've said for a long time, a lot of it's about money and fame, and it just creates
blind belief and faith.
Yeah, it creates so much bullshit, and it's too bad. All around, it's too bad. You know, if something could be discerned from all of this, if we could find out the truth, but chances are we never will.
Science is boring when it comes to this subject, compared to how we see the subject. So
you've got the few here and there, but most of us aren't scientists.
Right.
You know, it's just people playing scientists.
I don't care if we had real scientists out in the field, and everybody was. The scientific side of it is boring for field research.
Yes.
So it's not the fantastical, oh, Bigfoot stole my baby type thing, whatever.
Or I was friends with Nakanawi, the Bigfoot tribal elder. And
Right.
we shared tea every morning.
Correct. Yeah. And people, like you said, people want that fantastical. That's why people follow the woo.
Well, they want to feel special. They want to belong to something. You know, they want that group where they have, their own hierarchy and.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a lot of it's I know something you don't know, and they start believing in, like the woo, for example. I think they're the worst at it. They feel like they're a special group of people that know things that you have.
Well, yeah. I mean, how long have humans gone by knowledge as power? And even if that knowledge is false, if you believe it's true, then you are high off that power. I mean, you think that you have more power than everybody else.
It happens all the time. All the time. We saw it. People getting drunk off power. Seen it all over the place.
Makes me want to stab somebody.
Doesn't it though?
This makes me want to get drunk.
What?
Where does he go?
There's power involved. I want some drink. Something to drink.
Wow. Be a drunk control freak.
Steve gets power. He's going to become an alcoholic.
I've often thought about becoming an alcoholic. I just have.
Wow! Holy shit!
I mean, why not? Right?
Sure. Get yourself some wife beaters and then really beat your wife. Sure, Steve.
No, if that's included, then I'll give up that dream.
I mean,
that dream.
Destroy the lives of all the people around you.
I didn't realize I had to beat people and destroy lives. I just want the power.
No, I'm just saying,
alcoholism is not a positive thing, Steve.
Yeah. Generally,
they look like they're having so much fun.
Not so much, Steve.
Till they fall down and shit, but whatever.
Yeah.
Wreck a car.
Look how much fun that heroin addict is having.
That's right. Look at him puking on himself.
He's laying in a urinal.
Good times, great oldies. On that note, Steve, do we have any news tonight?
Yeah, we'll start with the there's no introduction music anymore.
Yeah, you don't get any. I'm going to fix that, Steve. I'm going to fix that for you.
Well, you better.
I'm going to. I promise.
Richard's going to send me a Facebook message. Do.
Yeah, exactly. Then you'll feel better.
That's right.
You'll feel like you belong.
We'll start with the Provo story. By the way, I did look at the video, and it is impressive.
Yeah.
That thing looks huge.
Yeah.
There
is a caveat to the story.
And what's that?
Yeah, go ahead and tell the story.
Okay. Well, I'm suspicious of anything that comes out of Provo since that beard card incident, but But anyway, from Fox13Now.com. Hey, Richard sent me a message. He said he did it in the chat room. Provo, Utah, the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization, or Kelly Shaw, has been following up on the reports of another Bigfoot sighting in the Provo area. A video posted on YouTube earlier this month purports to show the mythical creature, I think they always say that, mythical creature, in the foothills of East Provo. Look how huge he is, someone says in the recording. Another Bigfoot sighting had been reported a few years ago by a family on their way to the Provo Municipal Airport. Can't read tonight. They also recorded video showing a large, dark figure similar to the one seen in the video. I think that's the beard card incident.
Tonight?
No, another night.
No,
In 2007. In 2017, a Utah Department of Transportation traffic camera captured some other startling images. The RMSO has amassed more than 13 million video views on its YouTube channel, which catalogs clips of alleged Bigfoot sightings around the Rocky Mountains and the Pacific Northwest. And that's really all they say on the story. But the video is kind of intriguing. I actually like this one.
Yeah.
To agree with Phil on this one. It is not an obvious hoax.
Whatever it is, it looks freaking huge.
It does look big. It does
Well,
look really
the caveat is, I guess when they went up there, they found boot prints. However, because I was like, no, don't ruin it for me, Phil. But
Yeah.
I guess they don't go all the way to where it was.
Well, it's kind of on.
Isn't there the possibility that somebody else could have gone up there as well?
I guess that is a possibility. I'm just saying that was the caveat that Phil put out there. So,
and it is part of the story, and it should be expressed. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is from The Advertiser. Rex Jory says he lived with a ghost, or the ghost's presence, for months. He says, I once lived with a ghost. It wasn't some filmy see-through image like Casper, nor did it sit at the table like the ghost in Shakespeare's Macbeth, but it was a real presence, an invisible intruder which disrupted our household for months. He says, I don't talk about my ghost or indeed about living in a haunted house much because the story normally draws quizzical looks. People, I suspect, question my sanity. Yeah, don't doubt that. I tell the story to protect the reputation of workers in Adelaide's law courts who claim they have detected the president's presence in the old Supreme Court complex. The presence is reputed to be former Supreme Court Chief Justice Sir George Murray. Never heard of him. Builders Hannon Yukon have taken their workers' fears so seriously that they hired a medium with psychic gifts to seek out the unexplained presence. Nice. It might all sound like a load of piffle. This must be a UK site. Oh, it's Australia.
but is he married to the ghost or?
No.
Shit.
Where's the punchline, Steve?
I don't know. Cynics and skeptics have already scoffed at the idea and warned the state government not to invest a cent of taxpayers' money in hiring a psychic. But if the workers are generally concerned, they may have sympathy. Until his brush with the supernatural back in the late 70s, he was the ultimate skeptic, he says. If you can't see it, touch it, or take a photograph of it, then it don't exist. That was until he bought a brick villa in Ormond Avenue, Millswood.
So air is just out.
Yeah, air is out. Yeah. It was a nice house in need of renovation and upgrading, but it was in a lovely position due to the city and near public transport. That is important. The trouble started soon after he moved in. A group of them were sitting in a large room. His two young children had gone to bed when a hard-covered book sitting on top of a writing bureau flew across the room and landed on the carpet. Everyone saw it. No one could explain it. Someone picked up the book and put it back on the desk. It immediately took flight again, thumping to the carpet. Ooh. I've seen that kind of activity at my mom's house, to be honest.
Moments later, a small statue
with
of a frog.
With a frog?
Yes.
I don't buy it.
It's true.
Okay.
And he goes on to say that there was a lot more extraordinary events, so that government of Australia should take this seriously and hire psychics to investigate this ghost. What do you think?
Not scientists, but psychics.
Psychics. Yes. Not scientists, psychics. All right. This is my favorite of the night. Fortean.com. I've never even heard of the site, but they say a bat-like flying humanoid with an obvious face reported near Indiana's Prairie Creek Reservoir. My old friend, Lon Strickler of Phantom and Monsters, spoke to a witness via telephone on January 23rd regarding the sighting of a bat-like flying humanoid with an obvious face. The sightings took place on December 26, 2018, around 4 to 4:30 p.m. So that was still daylight out. The witness and his wife were traveling southbound on a county road about a mile south of Prairie Creek Reservoir near Muncie, Indiana, Strickler said. The date was December 26, 2018 at dusk. A huge flying object caught his attention. The witness, a military veteran, hunter, and trapper, and farmer, who lives in the immediate area. Boy, he has a long list of things going on for him, right? Lives in that immediate area, and his knowledge of military craft, wildlife, and his keen sense of observance, mine is not very good. His keen sense of observance was apparent. Observance?
No.
Was apparent when I talked to him. I don't know. The winged being that he was observing.
You mean he still does? How many years has he been doing this?
Almost 6 now. We're working on our 6th year, Matt.
The winged being that was obvious, that was observing. I'm sorry. You got me all flustered now, Matt. Doubting my ability. Listen, I've been doing the news for 6 years. I should know what I'm doing by now.
Should.
Hold on.
That's the whole point.
The winged being that he was observing was unlike anything he had ever seen before. The creature was flying just above treetop level and was easily visible to witnesses. His reaction was to slam on his brakes in wonderment, exclaiming to his wife, "Did you see that?" His wife was shaken by the sudden stop as was unable to react fast enough to see it. The creature described by the witness was very similar to other reports of winged humanoids around Lake Michigan, including the stillness of its wings in flight.
Ooh.
Steve, have you ever considered a career in audiobooks?
Yeah, I actually, to be 100% honest, I actually wanted to be a voiceover guy.
Can you imagine like being on a road trip and listening to like Steve do War and Peace or something?
As long as they left all of his fuck ups in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 16 hours of just Steve stumbling over words and fucking up sentences.
Chris is going to make me do it until I get it right. So I'll be doing the news for a long time to come.
It's sad, Steve.
But anyway, fellas, that is the news.
That is the news. Well, that was a fun show.
That was a real blast.
It was a hoot.
And nanny.
But no, I've been really excited this week just because of that. You know, it was one of those I want to believe weeks.
It was.
You know, not so much, you know, like my hopes have been dashed, but I was like, oh, maybe.
Well, it's been a long time.
Yeah, since we've had some
good Bigfoot news has come out.
Mm-hmm.
Even me, who's been skeptical for the last couple of years, who saw that story not related to Bigfoot at all, about a boy and this bear. I mean, even I got excited a little bit. So, yeah, it's been a good week.
Yeah. And Matt, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Hopefully you can join us again in the future. Are we going to say anything about the other stuff?
Other stuff?
Yeah. Not you, Steve. I'm talking to Matt.
Oh, any other stuff?
Like the things we were talking about. Or are we leaving that on the shelf for now?
I think we should leave that as a mystery right now.
Okay, we'll leave that on the shelf.
Let's build up some anticipation.
Sure. A radio tease?
Hey, this is what you do. Big announcement coming soon.
Yes, big announcement.
Keep listening. Give us your money.
If only.
That's how that's done. right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, this has been the Fortean Slip, episode 62, The Return of the Yeti. If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. Leave a comment. Subscribe. Check out Matt Knapp, as always, on his Bigfoot Crossroads page, youtube.com/Bigfoot Crossroads. What is your Cryptid Tales page, Matt?
Cryptid Tales.
It's just youtube.com/Cryptid Tales.
I don't even think I've been allowed to do that yet since it's so new. I mean, whoever does it, it's just a guy that sounds like me. But if you look up Cryptid Tales, you should be able to find it. You might have to dig a little.
Yeah.
Did you like do TAILS just to be fancy? Or TALES? You guys are going to let me sit in that, aren't
you? Absolutely.
Yeah. Check out.
Some cryptids have tails. Just say it.
Do they, Steve?
Go on. I'll shut up.
Yeah.
It's not a channel dedicated to the tales of cryptids.
But it would be cool.
Cryptid stories. Like tales. Tales from the hood.
Yes. Or the dark side.
The cryptid.
Anywho, check out Para Breakdown at youtube.com/Para Breakdown. Check out Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin on Facebook. That's Richard's comic strip. And check out his blog, The Ramblings of a Schizophrenic Brit. Check out, as always, our good friend Dred Funn at dredfunn.com and youtube.com/Dred Funn. Next week, we will be back with another topic. Who knows what it'll be, right, Steve?
It won't be bears and boys. Whoa, that just was wrong.
Oh, my God.
I didn't even think what I was saying. Don't ever ask me.
Yeah. Anyway, see ya.